let's jump into our first round leaders. I'm going to let you go ahead and rip and run there first, Uncle Dave. You already mentioned that you had a first round leader that you wanted to talk about with the weather. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got a few first round leaders. I think that, when all is said and done on Sunday, I don't think there'll be huge surprises at the top of the leaderboard. It's a brutal course, and the cream rises to the top in the fifth major. But I took Tommy Fleetwood again at 50 to 1. He's in the top 10 in course history, and I think that was fairly big for me this week. And I hate the late tee time. He goes off in the afternoon, and it might be an advantage for guys that prefer warmer temperatures because since we moved the clocks ahead, these very early tee times, like I said, 7:40, and the sun doesn't come up till 7:30. They're going to be, on the range in the dark, and temps will be in the upper 40s. I mean, we're in one of those times here in Florida where it gets still chilly at night. So, we won't see the 60s until like 10ish, and then mid to upper 70s as the day wears on. But we are going to have afternoon winds, much more so on the weekend. I know these guys play in all kinds of weather, but you can't tell me they don't prefer 70 over 50 degrees, that is. And so I think like a 9:30, 10 o'clock tea time would be ideal. I know it would be for me. And I took Maverick McNeely 65 to 1. He does have an early tee time. He does have great course history here. But moreover, I think he's undervalued a little bit. I mean, this kid was eighth at the Tournament of Champions and second at the Genesis. And both of them are kind of high octane fields. And I don't love that his better rounds have come on weaknesses. And his weakness has always been off the tee. And this isn't a course you want to be out of position on. But I'm assuming the rough will be at its least penal state on Thursday. And having been there earlier this week, it was already pretty penal. So that's going to be a problem. Guys that if you're doing your own work, guys that are accurate off the tee and great on approach are guys that you want because the way these pins are and greens are, there's some class A degree of difficulty approach shots. Um, I also took Justin Thomas 35 to 1, simply recent form. I mean, he's been kind of a carbon copy of McNeely in that he's been a lead at everything except off the tee. And, you know, because he's been in the top 10, 3 or 5 events he's played this year, I'm also going to play him top 10 at plus 240. I mean, that feels a bit like stealing, but so be it. And, have to do this, Sleepy. I mean, how did we not do it in Phoenix? Wyndham Clark at 55 to 1. He's kind of like Brian Harmon Part 2 in terms of first round history, and he's been a little bit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at times. I think we've seen that, but he's priced too well not to at 55 to 1.
Well, Uncle Dave, my first ones there is Wyndham Clark at 55 to 1. Why not? He missed a few of Wyndham Clark's first round leader tickets over the last 2 seasons. I mean, he was a guy that really got this golf pod, rolling. Hit a couple of first round leader tickets with him. I think it's time that we go ahead and we get back to him. So I'm glad you're on him. I guess if he goes ahead and he gets it, we'll count it as a double winner. He's with a good group of putters. He's with Jason Day. He's with Jordan Spieth. I think that's good. He goes out early in the morning. Clark was excellent last year here. He finished second here. Last year, he was tied for first round leader with Rory and Xander. He's probably going to come into this one confident. I think at a minimum, you got to go ahead and throw it down at least a pizza bet here on Wyndham Clark. So Uncle Dave and I are going to go ahead, Wyndham Clark 55 to 1 first round leader. And I'm also going to go with last week's fourth round killer, and that was Keegan Bradley. And I'm going to go ahead and play him at 55 to 1. He was on fire last week in the fourth round, posted a 64, broke some kind of record or another from what I was hearing on the broadcast. Bradley has a lot of course experience here, and he does have some up and down finishes, but his best finish here was fifth, and that was just a few years ago. He goes out late, so he's going to kind of know what he has to do. So I'm going to go ahead and play Keegan Bradley 55 to 1. I think if he builds off of what he did in the fourth round at the Arnold Palmer, he could be a lot of trouble there this week. So those are our two first round leaders. Wyndham Clark 55 to 1 and Keegan Bradley 55 to 1. Glad you agree there, Uncle Dave, with our boy Wyndham Clark.